Spider-Man 3.
Hey! Spider-Man 3.
The pinnacle masterpiece of the entire trilogy right here.
No, we already talked about Spider-Man 2.
Oh, right.
I will never forget the lead up to this movie, where a year before this movie came out, you came across the script. The script was leaked.
Right. You know, this movie has so many problems leading up
Yeah,
to it.
but here's my favorite part. So you go, Chris, I've read the script. Do you want to know what happened? And I said, we're about a year out.
Things will change.
Things could change.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably forget.
Yep.
Sure. So what did you do? You told me the whole thing. So it starts off, Spider-Man, Mary Jane are together. Harry Osborn is the Green Goblin.
New Goblin.
New Goblin.
New Goblin.
Well, I don't think you called him New Goblin at that point.
No, I don't. What did they call him in the script? Maybe just Goblin?
I think it was just Goblin, but I think you just called him Green Goblin because, of course,
yeah.
Because in the comic books, he does become Green Goblin.
Yep.
And they fight, and Peter knocks him out, gives him amnesia, and gets the Venom suit, which is from outer space. Just sort of happens to show up on a NASA shuttle that comes back to Earth. Even though, isn't it weird that the shuttle comes back to Earth, but not the escape pod?
In what? This movie?
Spider-Man 3?
Or in the script? Because in the movie, they're just at the park and a little meteor hits.
Oh yeah, there was the meteor. That's right. In the script, it was the shuttle, and I remember thinking it was weird that the shuttle.
And again, why didn't they have a shuttle? They already introduced John Jameson
as an astronaut. Yeah.
Like, it was right there.
They did it in the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so then he gets the suit. He, of course, just like the suit in the comic books and the cartoons, it's stronger.
Yeah.
This one, they give him, like in the comic books, he didn't really do any, like, outbursts or anything like that. He just realized, he found out that the suit was alive, and it was feeding off him, and it was eventually going to join with him permanently.
Yeah.
In the cartoon, he was more prone to anger and bursts of rage.
And it was so bad in the cartoon. Like, I watched the cartoon recently, and when he's angry, he's like, yeah,
exactly.
So
and then, but in this one, they make Peter Parker like a super douche.
Yeah, emo Parker.
Yeah, but actually,
he wears mascara.
I read an interesting article that actually kind of explained this, where because Peter's not a cool guy, what the Raimi or this whole like emo Peter thing is Peter's attempt at being cool.
Thinking what cool is.
That's right. He has no real concept of what cool is. He thinks this is what's cool. Like, so that's why.
Brush your hair down for a second.
Yeah, that's why he does.
Oh, you must be evil now. You are so evil. That's actually really good.
He does this a lot too.
That's really good. Yeah.
Like, okay. But then, like even in the dance sequence, like when he's just like strutting it up, that's what he thinks is really cool. Yeah. I'm gonna leave this like this.
It's so bad. Okay.
That's what he thinks is really cool, right? So that's why we're all just like, what the fuck is going on here? You know?
I can't take you seriously. I can't even look at you anymore.
You know? But like, so then of course, like, they introduce Sandman. Then eventually Peter becomes, or he gets rid of the suit.
We're still talking about the script? Or
yeah.
Talking about the movies?
And then Venom shows up, and then Venom and Sandman team up to fight Spider-Man and New Goblin, we'll call him. And I remember just being like, this is the movie?
That can't be it.
That can't be it. There's no way.
Yeah.
And you literally said, like, and Sandman will be like giant, like stories high. And I was like, this sounds like it's fucking garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, maybe a year and a bit or whatever, I go to see this movie by myself. I can't remember why. I think I was dating at the time. She was out of town. Or no, I don't think we were dating at the time. Because she was out of town. But anyway, I went and saw it by myself. Because I remember you saw it.
I saw it opening night.
You saw it opening night.
Because I watched all superhero movies opening night.
And I remember for some reason, I couldn't go for some reason, and I watched it that weekend. That's right.
Yeah, why couldn't you go? You must have been working or something.
I think I was working till like 11:30 or something like that.
Because you were Walmart then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I was a Walmart.
You worked some weird shifts then, yeah.
I can't help it. Like, now I'm trying to make sure that it just looks heinous. But I remember watching this movie, and, like, about a third of the way in, I was like, they didn't change a fucking thing.
This is the script.
And, like, the opening sequence where he's fighting New Goblin, or ultimately just Harry, okay, was actually really cool to watch. The only thing I didn't like was the interlude where he's trying to catch the ring.
Yeah.
The ring falls out of his pocket,
Yeah.
and he's trying to catch the ring, and I remember just being like, that doesn't need to happen. You can still do this, because ultimately, like, Peter doesn't want to really fight him. So that's where the conflict is, because Harry's coming in to kill him, Peter's coming in to just not get killed, and also not hurt his friend, right?
Yeah.
But then, they do the amnesia thing, which, okay, it's all right.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, the amnesia part.
It was all right. I didn't mind it.
It's a CGI fest, this movie, compared to the first two.
Really? Like,
Because
so
like,
much.
as cool as that goblin thing was at the beginning, like, when they're in between the buildings and all the stairs are there, I almost found it hard to watch a few times. Like, it's so flashy.
I remember there was a couple of,
wow, there's a lot going on right now.
It was really weird. Like, you could see the parts, though. It's funny. You can see the parts where Raimi didn't want to do this versus the parts that he did want to see. And I'll get to what I mean exactly. You could get the sense that he didn't really want to go this route. Maybe not necessarily yet.
Yeah.
With Harry.
Yeah, because we've talked about what should have happened with the third. It should have been a two-part. 100%.
It should have been. So then, so he gets amnesia, but Spider-Man is now a celebrity. New York sees him as a celebrity. And now we've got Peter Parker, like, buying his own hype. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he's now acting like a big shot because Spider-Man is a beloved hero in New York.
Yeah.
And now he's, like, neglecting Mary Jane, who's not exactly going through the greatest of times.
He's going through an awful time, and he keeps making everything about himself.
And he's making it about himself, and he's making it about Spider-Man, primarily.
Because you talk about the critics, and he's like, oh, I know how you feel with Spider-Man.
I have critics, too.
It's like...
But eventually, they'll warm up.
And this was before he even had the black suit, and I'm like, man, you're being really douchey. You finally got the girl of your dreams, and you're being this?
And it bothers me, and it really bothered me, because I was like, you never really had a hint of that post Ben Parker's death.
Mm-hmm.
You had a hint of the douche that he could have been, right?
Yeah.
And then Ben Parker dies, that's his lesson, and he goes, okay, alright. So, they don't even do a hint of that in the second movie, at all, and keep in mind, this is also the guy that, like, had a subway full of people going, you gotta get through all of us to get to him. Yeah. And even though the one dude is literally like, and you can tell he's shitting his pants, but he's still standing there, right? To this where, like, the sequence where he saves the people from the office building is amazing. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely incredible. And I forgot how great that scene was, where he's, like, climbing along the parts of the building that are falling, and he's stopping them from falling, saving people, ultimately saving Gwen Stacy. Which Bryce Dallas Howard was excellent casting.
She was really great in the role. Bryce Dallas Howard is such a beautiful.
What a smoke show in, like, Platinum Blonde.
I know, because that's the only time she's done that. Like, she's always a red. It's funny, right? They get a blonde to play a redhead, and
I caught that too, and I was like, that is quite funny.
You got the only redhead actresses in Hollywood, and you pick her as the blonde.
Yeah.
No,
total smoke show.
She looked great as Gwen Stacy.
But like. But the other part, too, is that, like, so you got an actress that was, like, I mean, it's just subjective, right? But in my opinion, leaps and bounds better looking than Kirsten Dunst. Mm-hmm. No offense, Kirsten Dunst. I just don't really find you attractive in general. But don't feel bad, because look at me. I don't look that great either.
Especially with that hair.
Just in general, with the hair doesn't help. Doesn't help at all.
No.
But anyway, I remember that was one of the first things I thought, too. I was like, you couldn't get someone at least the same in terms of attractiveness. Yeah. You had to get a smoke show. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so that whole sequence was great. And you get that quick introduction of Eddie Brock, which with Topher Grace as Eddie Brock, like, we were reading Ultimates at the Ultimate Spider-Man at that point, so we were already having a younger, thinner Eddie Brock, so it wasn't...
instead of the big brick house.
It wasn't that bad, and in the Ultimate comic books, when Brock becomes Venom, he's like a tank Venom. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. That's okay. I liked that the black costume was literally...
just a black version of
I thought that was really
costume.
cool. I thought that made sense that they did that. But yeah, like, I really hated the douchebag Peter Parker because it was so out of left field. Like, it just seemed weird that all of a sudden, now he's going to be like, oh, my shit doesn't stink.
Yeah, like with the ending of the second film, to go from that ending into this.
Like, I'm not...
I found it hard to... And I still, like, it's hard for me to swallow. Like, I just...
Exactly. I know that they like to do those cringy, sort of painfully awkward moments for Peter Parker because they chalk it up under the Peter Parker luck. But this was cringy because you're just like, you're a douchebag. Yeah. You know? And then, like even when they're at the restaurant and he's, like, about to ask her to marry him. And this is after he kissed Gwen Stacy as Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah. And
he pawns it off like it's no big deal, but then later, MJ, like that at the dinner, she finds out that they work together. Yeah. So she's like, wait a minute.
It wasn't just so much the fact that he kissed her, it was their kiss.
It was their kiss.
If it was just a regular kiss, she would have been pissed. But he gave...
But it was their kiss, but it was also, he made it seem like, oh, it was just a fan.
Right, that's how I feel with Spider-Man 3 too.
But anyway, so it's the kiss, but it's also because he tried to play it off like she was just a fan. But it turns out they work together. Yeah. So, or they know each other through work or whatever.
So now it looks like it's Peter.
So then it's like a secret
his own
thing.
Fantasy. And
yeah, like, I mean, it's like...
Don't blame him, but...
Like, if you're gonna hang out, like, if, you know, you're gonna hang out with a woman, right? Yep. And you tell your wife, I'm gonna hang out with a woman, like, yeah, just a friend, and she knows who the friend is or whatever, she's less likely to think that something's going on.
Exactly.
But if you say, I'm gonna hang out with a friend, and then she finds out it's a woman, and then you play this card, well, I didn't think it would matter, you know, because nothing was gonna happen. Then it's like, well, why did you hide that back? Why wouldn't you just tell me? So that's another part where I'm just like...
I go have lunch with a coworker.
Yeah. And then on Instagram, she sees that it was a big fat sandwich lunch with a, you know, big titted freak. And you're just like, well, I didn't think it mattered. No. Why would it matter? It's just a friend.
You should see her deep throat a 12-incher.
Yeah, exactly. Not mine, of course.
No.
Right? So, like, there's that aspect. There's the whole, like, he's, like, a big shot. Yeah. There's the fact that he's, like you said, like, he turns it all around. It's all about him and being Spider-Man. And it's just like, where the fuck did this guy come from? And what was the, like, end result? Like, does he suddenly realize, yeah, you know what, it's not just about Spider-Man? Because I felt like that was the whole purpose of the second movie, was trying to, like, deal with both lives together. Right. But now everything's going good, and so he's acting like a douchebag? Like, it just makes no sense.
So much of it, I mean, this movie's got so many problems. First off, on top of the script leak, we almost didn't get Tobey Maguire in this. It was almost Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's right.
Because Tobey Maguire fell off like a horse while shooting Seabiscuit or something, and he was so badly injured that they didn't think he was going to be able to make this. He ended up making it. But then you got the studio putting their fucking hands in here. Like, not just letting the filmmakers do their thing. They're just like, no, you're going to have Venom. We don't want Vulture.
Which is absolutely frustrating. Oh, I know. And it's frustrating because you look at Spider-Man 1. Yeah. Next to no studio interference.
Right, because they didn't... They're like, whatever.
Yeah, just make it, and if it makes money, okay, great. Cool. As long as you, like, make more than the budget, that'd work great. Then you get Spider-Man 2, and it's like, whoa. Oh my god. Yeah. And so then they go, yeah, you know what this needs? Us. We need to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. You want Vulture? Let's do Venom.
I don't want an old ball guy. Venom.
Venom is huge. Let's do Venom. Yeah, okay, alright. What about, can I still do Sandman? You can do Sandman. We also need to do New Goblin. Mm-hmm. I don't really want to. He's on a skateboard. Sorry, scratch that. Snowboard. But it hovers. Mm-hmm. okay, I guess. Can I do Vulture in Spider-Man 4? Sure. Not really.
Not happening.
Not happening at all.
Like, it's the writing, too, right? Because Sam Raimi and Ivan Raimi are the ones that did this movie. They didn't have... Yeah.
I can't help it.
Just keep doing it. It's so gross.
It's so sneaky. Ugh.
Michelle, if this is grossing you out, imagine what it's like in person.
I can't wait
I'm here right
this.
now.
I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, but no, Sam Raimi should not have written the third movie. He should have just done the directing. In fact, apparently, Danny Elfman didn't even return for this. Did you know that? He did
I did not even know that. Who wrote this one?
That was written by the guys that did the National Treasure and Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
How did this turn out so good then?
And then this
Alfred Go, yeah, okay, Miles Millard, yeah, Michael Chabon.
That one was David Coat.
I don't understand why they wouldn't just get these guys to write it.
Yeah.
Like, were they knee deep in Smallville at that point?
Fuck, man.
But anyway, okay. So ultimately, Sam Raimi wrote this.
Yeah, he should not have written it.
That's part of the problem.
He wrote it, and then the studio was basically forcing him to write it a certain way. So.
Yeah. So I had said, like, you could tell the parts that he didn't really want to do. So those are the parts that are a little bit more rushed. Yeah. So the New Goblin stuff, you can clearly see a rush.
You think Warner would have looked at that and went, maybe we should just let the director do his thing with Justice League? Because Spider-Man 3 didn't turn out too well.
It'll never happen. There's too many, like, shareholders. And...
Back the fuck up.
Oh, my God. But, okay, but then you get the introduction of Flint Marko.
Yeah, no, when I was talking earlier about how there's very little redeeming qualities with this movie, one of those moments is Thomas Ian Church as Sandman. Perfect casting. That was the perfect man for that job.
How awesome is it that he literally looked like Sandman?
Literally.
The fucking shirt, pants,
the everything looked Sandman.
The flat top head.
Yeah.
He even, like, worked out for this movie, and he didn't have to.
No.
But he did. And that whole sequence where he's a criminal because he doesn't know what else to do, but he's got to get money for his kid who's sick. Right. Which...
Now, see, that's probably the most beautiful moment in the whole film, is that moment with his daughter at the beginning.
Oh, my God. That's so great.
I felt bad for him. Like, we didn't know what was going on.
That's right.
Unfortunately, Thomas Ian Church didn't have a lot to work with in this movie.
No.
His big scenes are just CGI. Like, he's not even in them.
That's
right. Just floating sand flakes or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so...
But, like, the scene where he becomes Sandman is beautiful.
The way they shot that, where he's trying to, like, come back together and...
But then, like, he lifts his hand and there's the locket, and then he just solidifies. It is a long sequence. It doesn't feel like it's a long sequence, but, like, every inch of it... And the CGI is a little rough in it, but it helps that it's sand, right? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be polished, but that is such a great scene, and it's so great that, like, again, like, you know, I'm a Sandman now, okay. Well, I guess I can rob better banks.
Yeah.
You know? And I liked that, even though they're kind of doing the same thing they did with Dr. Octopus, where he's not necessarily, deep down he's a good guy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, he's just making the wrong choices, right? And I think that's kind of where they were trying to tie up the Peter Parker storyline, where it's, because deep down Peter is a good guy, he was just making some really shitty choices. I think they were using Sandman as an allegory for that, and that's where he started to maybe wake up and stop acting like a douche. Yeah. Right? Right. But, like, we didn't need to have that sequence. You know what I mean? But you're right, the Sandman stuff, the only real... Well, the initial sequence for Spider-Man before the black suit fights Sandman is awesome. Yes. Is really, really cool. Yeah. It's a very good representation of the CGI and not CGI. Like, that's where there's parts of Thomas Hayden Church that are actually live action, and then the other parts are CGI. Right, it looks really great. Yeah. I love the texture that they give the sand stuff. But there was just not enough of that. And then, like, of course, they have to shoe in the Venom story. And so that's, 10, 20 minutes.
That's just a horrible shoe-in.
That's a half an hour. That's right. Because it's a half an hour in the middle of the movie where now Peter's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing like all black clothes, and he doesn't even care if anyone knows he's Spider-Man because the suit is like right underneath his open shirt.
So I watch that with Adrian. She's watching it, and she goes,
"Yeah, the guy liner.
Is he wearing eyeliner?" I'm like, "Yes, he is."
Yes,
and
he is.
She's just like, "Ugh, why?"
And sure, the scene is a play off of the original from the second one, where it's like everything's good, and it's like that Mentos commercial.
Yeah.
So they do that, but it's all just like people are looking at him like, "Who's this fucking douchebag?"
He's like, "Hey."
Yeah, he's like, "Hey," and they're like, "Creeper,
yeah,
where's my mace or my taser?" Because this is middle of New York, and you're a freak show.
Yeah.
You know, and then even that like. And you could argue that, sure, the suit has now influenced him enough that he does that whole scene where he purposely goes out on a date with Gwen Stacy just to make Mary Jane jealous. But he was already acting like a douche, so I just feel like it was just amplified.
I love how Gwen played that off, too. She's like, "Oh, that's your old girlfriend. Do you want to leave? Are you okay with this?"
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine with this."
He's like, "Yeah, I'm cool. Let's dance, Daddy-O."
And then she finds out that it was all just like
when she figures it out, and
she runs up to him. She's like, "I'm so sorry."
Exactly, like I'm so sorry. Gets the fuck out of there, and then like douche Parker there is just like, you know. Man, like I still I even though even that write up where it's like this would be what he thinks is cool, still doesn't say that scene. The whole thing is fucking garbage.
It's so bad.
It's so garbage, and it's
so
like
bad.
It's garbage on top of garbage on top of garbage. There's very few redeeming qualities because even like with the Sandman stuff, I don't really like that they retconned it and had Flint Marko be the guy that ultimately killed.
Do not like that at all. It's
even
like,
now,
this doesn't even need to be connected to that.
If it turned out that, like, he really didn't kill him, and it was just, like, false evidence or something, even then I would still be like, why would you... Peter Parker was going to fight Sandman regardless, because the guy was a criminal, and he's a superpowered criminal, unlike anything we'd ever seen up until this point. He was going to fight him, okay? Even if he didn't join up with Venom, okay? He was going to fight him. Here's another thing, too. I remember with Venom, when I originally watched the movies a couple times, I actually liked how he sounded. I hate how he sounds now, like with the screeching and stuff.
And you know what else I noticed? And I noticed this because, well, the trailers of Venom coming up. He doesn't say we.
No.
He says I.
He doesn't say we at all.
He doesn't say we.
No.
We are Venom. I am Venom. That's what... And then...
And even for him to say, I am Venom is
weird. And that really just clicked. I was just like, oh, wow, they didn't do the we thing.
Exactly.
The new movie is going to be so much better than this.
Yeah.
So much better.
Like, I mean, the claws on him were okay. The teeth was alright. Like, it was okay.
But he was so small looking.
Yeah.
Like, he looked more like... That's how I imagine Carnage looking.
Yeah, like, I remember when they did a couple of those, like, Venom-type shots with Spider-Man in the reflection, and I remember just thinking, oh, okay, that's alright.
Yeah.
You know? But then, oh, yeah, I forgot the part where Emo Parker fucks Harry up, scars his face.
Oh, yeah. Burns his face.
Beats the shit out of him. The thing I thought was really kind of cool, there was a couple of shots where they're both, like, crawling around in the ground like animals, which I thought was kind of neat. It, like, visually it looks cool, especially because you get the sense that Peter is really, like, becoming more of the spider aspect of Spider-Man, so I thought that was kind of neat. But ultimately then it was just like, it was like when he dumped Sandman into the mud.
Yeah.
And as far as he's concerned, Sandman's dead.
Yeah.
So he just willingly killed this guy. He just willingly killed this guy. And this thing with Harry where he throws the grenade right back at him. Left him for dead.
Yeah, and just walks away.
You know, again, it's just, like, I mean, sure, the suit's having an effect on him, but I feel like, especially if we use the second movie as an example, he's too good for that to ultimately happen. It's kind of like when, I liken it to Batman 608, where Poison Ivy's controlling Superman, and at the end, like, when Batman and Catwoman save the day or whatever, and Superman's just like, oh no, Batman actually says, he's like, sure, she's able to control him to some degree, but she'll never make him to do anything really bad because he's too good.
Mm-hmm.
He can't physically do that kind of thing. Something along those lines. And I remember, like, yeah, that would make sense. The ultimate Boy Scout, you really couldn't make him. You can make him do certain things, but you couldn't make him full on kill somebody. He would push past that. And I felt like that would be the kind of the same thing too, where there'd be more of a fight instead of him just being like, I'm a douchebag, you know. And then just kind of ultimately going like, no, I can't have the suit now. Like even the shit where he's trying to wheel and deal the neighbor's daughter or the owner of the house
yeah.
And he's wheeling her, and you're just like, what? Like, you're too good for this for you to be that bad so quickly.
Give me milk.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh yeah, listen to this guy, fuck this guy. I want to be with you or anyone else, you know. It's so. The parts I did kind of like, even though the storyline was cool, was Evil Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he's like trying to break up Peter Parker and Mary Jane, like even though they're already broken up at this point, but he's like officially breaking them up, and there's that part where like he's playing it straight, and then he looks like he's eating the pie, like this is good pie. Then looks at Peter like out the window, he's just like, you know, and you're like, oh, you dick, you fucking dick. Those parts were really cool, like in like from James Franco's point of perspective. Like I thought that was kind of really neat, but again, like it's just. There's so much fucking garbage in this movie that these little nuggets of goodness are just, it's not good enough to save the movie.
Again, like, James Franco's story is the best. Like, as a whole. Through the trilogy, because he's a smaller character in the first, but then he starts to, like, get larger, and then the second, he's a big part of it. The third one, he becomes evil, gets the amnesia. You know, and then like, goes evil again.
What is it? MJ goes like, "This is bigger than us. It's bigger than all of us. You have to help him. You have to help Peter."
No, because she's trapped by Venom, right?
Peter
says it to her, and Harry doesn't do any. He doesn't go with him.
That's
right.
But
then he's watching on TV Peter get murdered.
That's right. Yeah.
And then he's like
fucked up by both of them.
He's watching Mary Jane hang there, and Peter's getting murdered, and I love that.
Yeah.
He's just like, no, I'm going to go help my friend.
That's right. He does, and then he helps him. The CGI, like the million-foot-tall Sandman, I still hate it. Like, it makes sense from where they're at. They're at the construction site.
So he's going to be huge, yeah.
So it makes sense in that regard, but it's still just like, well... You know, and I mean, like, I know that I said that I loved that he appealed to the better nature in Spider-Man 2. He does the same in this movie, but he kind of also sort of reprimands him, too, where he's just like, you're a good guy, but you're making the wrong moves or something like that, and then he gives him that with great power comes great responsibility thing. And the reason why it's so flat is because we spent the entire movie watching douche Parker become even more douchey, and then suddenly, like, wake up and go, oh yeah, I forgot, I love you, and I want you to be in my life, and I won't be this douchebag anymore. And
it's hard to watch.
It's so bad. It's almost as bad as this.
Almost. But not nearly.
This is rough. This is probably horrible. I can't wait to see this. But
the first two movies have so much heart. And I really connect to them, and I love them. I'm so emotionally attached to them. This has zero heart. In fact, like, it's 2 hours of negativity, really.
It is a huge, like, 2 hours of just a slog of just this brutal negativity.
Yeah.
That even the ending doesn't really make it that much better.
Yeah, like, he forgives Sandman. Sandman floats away.
Yeah.
Harry dying was kind of sad.
That was sad, and I didn't want that to happen, but it was kind of cool that he died the same way his dad died, except he was trying to save Parker.
It's a friggin' Venom kill him of all people.
Yeah. And then, killing off Venom, okay, like, I guess it had to happen.
Yeah.
But, that was kind of cool, like, when he's got the bars,
and just bam,
smash them all around and stuff. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah,
you know,
visually very cool. The whole movie actually is it's visually pleasing. It's a really good looking movie.
Yeah, there's just nothing really to it. There's no real substance.
Exactly. There's no substance at all.
I mean, sure.
And there's too much going on.
Yeah.
Way too much.
There's
much.
This
should have been a two-parter. You should have had Sandman in there. If you don't want Vulture, fine, don't have Vulture. But Eddie Brock could have been introduced.
Yep.
And then you could have brought in the black costume halfway through the movie.
You could have also had a longer stint in the black costume.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could have still had the big fight in the sewers with Sandman.
Yep.
You know, and then you could also, I mean, he could have got the black costume earlier enough so that when he's acting like a douchebag, it's because the suit is making him act like a douchebag, right? Mm-hmm. Like maybe have it so that the suit is mimicking the spider suit, like the red and blue suit, but then the more he wears it, the darker it gets, right?
Right, yeah.
You know? So then, now he's like, yeah, the time about Spider-Man, so then she's just like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because then at least I can go, oh, right from the beginning, the suit was already, I gotcha, right? As opposed to, you're already a piece of shit before this.
Yeah. Right? That's the real problem there, is that he was doing this before that suit.
Right. Exactly. So it's like, that part really bugs me. The stuff with Harry, you know, is really great. Like, yeah, it's largely good. Like,
yeah, it's largely good.
The CGI with when he has the mask on and stuff like that is a little on the shit side, but still really cool. I don't like the design though. I mean,
a new Goblin.
And if he's not gonna look like a goblin, don't call him a goblin.
Yeah, why is he? Yeah.
You know,
just because he has pumpkin bombs.
Like, he didn't sit there and go like, yeah, I'll call myself New Goblin. He's just like, no, I'm going to go kill Spider-Man. I'm not going to spend 3 days coming up with a cool nickname. You know? There's just,
I'm looking at my notes here.
I'm trying to make the stuff that I like sound better than they are, but they're not.
I hate that the series ended with Peter and MJ split up, because the whole time I was looking forward to that. They're pretty much split up.
Yeah, they don't.
They're not together.
They don't say that they don't actually say they're back together.
They're on maybe terms.
They're on maybe terms, yeah.
Well, and I also hate that we never got to see Dylan Baker become the Lizard, which is where the fourth movie was going. He was in the second and the third. You knew.
And like the second that he was in the first time I saw him in the second movie, I was like, oh my god, we're gonna see the Lizard.
Yeah.
And like for them to then have him again in the second one. Or the third movie, sorry. You're like, oh yeah, we're really gonna see that. And like you said too, like have Brock at the beginning and thread him through, because then when he ultimately does get fucked over by Spider-Man and Peter Parker, then there's more weight to it, right? Because now it's not just like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. It was quick. It was just like, boom, Spider-Man out, or Peter Parker outs him, and then Spider-Man, he realizes that Spider-Man and Peter Parker are the same.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, in the comic books where it's Spider-Man keeps fucking over Eddie Brock, while at the same time, Peter Parker's just getting better pictures than Eddie Brock because he's a better photographer, and he's willing to do it on the right side. And then the suit happens, and then suit says, hey, by the way, Peter Parker's Spider-Man. It's like, well, good, because I hate them both.
Yeah.
There's just none of it. There's no weight to this. They make it seem like there should be weight, and you should be like, whoa, but there's none of that.
Because Kirk Connors is kind of helping him along with the symbiote, like teaching him about it, don't come in contact with it and everything. So I feel like if they would have ended this movie with Connors being the one to let Peter know how to get rid of this thing.
Yeah.
He's at the bell.
I've done extensive
testing. It falls onto Eddie. Eddie's becoming Venom now. You could have Kirk Connors doing the testing on himself and then, becoming the Lizard in the fourth. You could have had Venom and the Lizard in the fourth. They would have been insane on the screen together.
Yep.
And then you could have had Lizard eventually going against Venom and helping Spider-Man, like Otto did.
You could have done that.
You could have.
Eventually Connors asserts himself in the Lizard body. You can do that because they've done that in the comic books plenty of times. You're right, you could have done that. I know I kind of I don't know, but you could have definitely done that. You could have. And I definitely would have been like, that's pretty fucking
sweet. Currently in The Amazing Spider-Man, Connors has got control of the Lizard body.
Yep. So
I mean, it's doable. And what really pisses me off with Sony is the fact that they canceled the series. We never got an official ending to it.
No.
So they could go do The Amazing. Ugh. And what does The Amazing do? Introduces Lizard, who would have been in the fourth Spider-Man film.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just like, are you kidding
also
me? How far, Homecoming, Vulture.
After them going, we don't want Vulture.
Yeah.
And now Vulture's in Homecoming.
And it's one of the best villains, period.
It's so fucking hypocritical.
It's weirdly hypocritical.
And I'm hoping Venom is successful enough this weekend because it's a trilogy. It's a planned trilogy. Tom Hardy signed on for 3. He's pumped to do the second. I want Sony to stick to their guns and fucking finish something.
That's what I want to. I also want them to at least keep Spider-Man out of this.
Yeah.
For one more movie.
Yeah.
Maybe have him at the end.
If he ends up coming over and appearing in Venom, which I don't think Marvel Studios will allow, but if it happens,
they can't really say no.
If it happens,
they can't say no.
Apparently, they can.
That seems so weird.
They have control of Spider-Man, but Sony can do whatever they want with the rest of the characters.
That makes no sense because I thought wasn't the agreement to you'll have I'll do a Spider-Man movie and Marvel won't make any money from it, and then we won't make Sony won't make any money from any of the Peter Parker Spider-Man appearances.
I'm pretty sure Sony is making a portion of whatever Spider-Man appears in.
I'm almost certain that it's cut and dry like that. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
I don't know.
But I was also under the impression that they could have done whatever they wanted too. Like they could do what they want. It's just the agreement that they have with Marvel right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It is a weird contract.
So what I'm trying to say is I hope Venom's successful enough that we get that trilogy.
I agree.
Because we didn't get an end to this. We didn't get an end to Amazing. They keep...
Ugh, I'm glad, though.
I would have liked an end to it. I want them to finish something. That was going to be a trilogy.
Excuse me. Yeah.
So, fucking finish something.
Yeah, I agree. Fucking finish something.
At least with Homecoming, we know this story will continue now because Marvel Studios is going to make sure it
That's right. That's right.
Right?
I agree.
And it may... You know what? You notice Elizabeth Banks is in all 3 of these?
Yeah.
Betty Brant?
Yeah, I knew that.
Funny? Isn't it funny that by the 3rd movie, she decided to come back and do this bit role, even though she was bigger by the 3rd movie?
Yeah, that part I was like...
Sure, I'll come back and do that.
It's more of a surprise in the 3rd movie.
Yeah.
Because you're just like... You didn't even have to.
No.
She didn't even have to be in the movie. Like, the character.
She doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
It is kind of funny.
It's a lot of cool visuals, but emotionally empty compared to the heart-filled first 2 films.
Yeah, it is an empty shell. But then again, also knowing what we know now, of course it's going to be an empty shell because Raimi's heart isn't in it.
Right. His heart wasn't in it. And I guess maybe that is a lot to do why we never got the 4th either.
Well, that's...
Maybe...
Because he'd also...
I'm putting all the blame on Sony, but maybe Raimi was like, you know what? Because of my...
it too, where he was just kind of like, I can't do the movie that I feel you should get in the time that you've given me, so I'm going to pull out. And then they said, okay, we'll reboot.
Yeah.
They gave us that awesome Spider-Man costume with the sunglasses. His shades. With his skateboarding rebel Peter Parker.
With the huge hair.
Also a nerd, but he's...
Twilight Peter.
Yeah, Twilight Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Was Edward Cullen?
Yep.
Edward Cullen. A gritty remake. Oh, it's gritty. And it is, because you got one of the brighter color palettes of characters, and it's a darker movie in general.
Yeah.
Sure, the second one's a lot brighter,
mm-hmm.
and I think if the second one was the first movie, a little bit retooled, I would have responded to it a bit better.
Yep.
Regardless of Electro. But...
It had an interesting backstory with his parents, and they were setting up the Sinister Six. I think it had promise.
I'm sorry, you said interesting? I didn't think it was interesting. I thought it was fucking garbage. It was another attempt to repurpose other characters to be the benchmark for Peter's reasons to be a hero, as opposed to Uncle Ben.
Well, it was still very much Uncle Ben, though.
In the first movie, yes. In the second movie, not at all.
Yeah.
And even towards the end of the first movie, they started to really give you the Richard and Mary story.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the second one, it was all that.
Yeah.
They were trying to rewrite it so that, sure, that was the impetus for the first movie, but the real impetus was his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Which I hated. I hated that so much.
I didn't like it, but I wanted to see where it went. Because, I mean, it was a storyline in the 90s.
See, I'm not with you. I'm against that. I did not want to see where it ended. I mean, unless it turned out that we were going to get his clone parents, and it was going to be the ultimate fuck you from Green Goblin, then I would have been okay with it. Except that the Green Goblin that we got was Harry Osborn instead of Norman Osborn.
Because Norman died. Which was a huge waste of Chris Cooper, because, again, he's a good actor.
Yeah. I mean, what's his face? Dane
DeHaan.
Dane DeHaan. Really good as a bad guy.
He's a good actor.
But again, like, let's give you a pile of shit and see what you can do with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. He was like this.
Yeah, hair straight up. There's a lot of great impressions today. Who else should we do?
I don't know.
What can you do with that hair?
Well, if I do this, Nicolas Cage. That's pretty much it.
That's good. No, that's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm good with
all
that.
Tapped out.
That was really great. So before we wrap, which Bruce Campbell cameo was your favorite?
What was his cameo on the? Oh, his was the restaurant. That's right.
Yes.
His was the restaurant.
The French restaurant.
I actually have to say my favorite is the second one at the ballet.
Me too.
Because
that's funny.
Peter comes in and he's just like, oh, ties up his shoes and he goes, fixes up his tie, and then he goes, how can I help you? I'm here for the thing. He's like, do you have a ticket? No, but it's in the lobby. Okay. But I'm here to see MJ. And she's like, well, she wouldn't want you to be late, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but I could just go in. And it's like, yeah, but you have to be quiet. And we can't let you in because it'll wreck the appearance of the play, And, like, they say, like, Bruce Campbell's character beat Spider-Man. He does, in fact, beat Spider-Man.
He does.
And
I love that Bruce Campbell says that.
And it's funny, and it's just, like, and then just the whole thing, like, just the fact that he's like, yep, okay, you look great, but you can't come in. but, yeah, I know, but she wouldn't want you to come late, right? And you're just like, well, yeah, but, I mean... was stopping robbers or something. I don't even know what they were doing, but they had guns.
Yeah. I enjoy seeing him in all three of them so much.
The first one was great where he gives him the name Spider-Man. I thought that was awesome. But the second one was awesome. And the third one, I don't like because the scene in general I don't like.
Right. The scene...
know?
Yeah, I totally get that.
Because he's all like, I'm going to ask her to marry me and everything's going to be great and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, okay. But he doesn't really do anything antagonistic. Mm-hmm. And he should because this is the most douchiest I've ever seen him. But yeah, that would be my favorite right there. As far as an order, it's pretty blatant. 2, 1, 3. Distant 3.
Distant 3. Bottom of the pile.
Huge disparity. Like...
Oh, man.
I remember when I walked out of the theater and I went... I'm not sure how I feel about this.
And it's even just like the trailer alone. Like this trailer blew my mind. I was so excited. This trailer blew my mind. So excited. Dr. Octopus looks amazing. Can't wait. First trailer for that was all through the goggle again. They were showing stuff through the... God. So good. This trailer, I was like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was how I remember Last Stand was the same way, where like the first 2 X-Men trailers, I was like, oh yeah, this would be fucking great. And they were fucking great. Then I saw the trailer for Last Stand and I was like, I don't know about this. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I feel about this.
Now, Last Stand is much better though than this.
Oh yeah, it sure is.
Which is amazing because Last Stand was Brett Ratner, coming off of Bryan Singer doing 2 movies. This was still Sam Raimi, so what the fuck's the excuse?
Yeah. But, like, even Dark Knight Rises, infinitely better than this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's almost like we have to play a game, like, what's worse, Spider-Man 3 or Amazing Spider-Man 2? Because, like, I shit on Amazing Spider-Man, but that was a pretty cohesive story. They had a pretty... The only thing that the things I don't like is the douchebag Spider-Man. Like, Peter Parker... is, like, cool. He's a cool kid. There's no way he isn't a cool kid. Yeah. I mean, he even sticks up for other loser kids. Mm-hmm. Okay? They should all be hanging out together. But they're not because he's cool. He's also, like, a super cocky Spider-Man. The one part I like is when he gives the kid the mask. And then the kid's like, oh, okay, and now I can be saved by Spider-Man. I thought that was really cool. But everything other than that was not good. The thing I hate the most, yeah, sure, Detective Stacy, I'm not going to date your daughter. I will stay the fuck away from her because I don't want her to get killed either. 20 minutes later, hey, you want a date? Come on, Gwen, let's go for a date. Yeah.
Fuck your father.
And then, like, Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's a big part of that. It's like, I can't date you because I promised your dad. But I want to date you. Your dad's dead, so really, who's it hurting? And you're just like, fuck you.
It's crazy because the Amazing Spider-Man movies, the cast that they got for those movies is incredible.
Oh, yeah. The chemistry between those two is through the roof.
Martin Sheen and Sally Field as Uncle Ben and Aunt May. Wow.
Yep.
The chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Wow. Dennis Leary is in there. It's great. I mean, like, well, the movies aren't good.
Oh. Second one is worse than the first, which is weird to say. It should have been better.
It is weird to say. Yeah.
There's elements to it that are better, like it's a brighter movie.
I definitely, you know what?
Costume's better.
Thinking about Spider-Man 3 is probably worse than the Amazing movies.
Yeah, it is.
Just because not only is it not good, but the disappointment that comes
with
it.
That's right. Because I wasn't expecting anything with Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't like, this will be better than these ones. I was like, there's no way you're going to be better than number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Try your best, but you're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even with Far From Home, I'm like, try your best to be better than Spider-Man 2. Try your best. I don't think you're going to be better than Spider-Man 2, but if you try your best, then it's going to be a fucking great movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
100%.
So, that
is the Sam Raimi trilogy.
That is it.
This is Camcast number 20. We're in the 20s now.
Yeah, I know. This is also back-to-back Spider-Man shit.
Yeah. Should number 25 be a double-size 4-hour episode, just like a comic book?
Sure.
And we'll charge you $7.99 for it.
Oh, wait. I'm out.
Oh. What? I'll split it with you. You get $4.
I'm still out, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm still out.
Still out?
Because we're not sellouts, son.
Oh!
Not sellouts.
That was an emo Chris Mercier thing to do.
We're out.